Okay. Welcome everyone. If you're joining, you are tuning in to our live ultimate attendee guide for SaaStr Annual that's coming up. So I'm just gonna make Trisha co-host here so she can help answer any questions. So yeah, we're gonna cover a few things today. If you've never been to annual or if you're coming back, welcome back. SaaStr is coming up quickly. So yeah, we just want to go through kind of a guide of everything you need to know for this year. We are recording and live streaming this. So if you can't join, or if you've got other team members who want to join, they'll be able to watch that as well. So yeah, thanks everyone for joining. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get started so we can give you all the tips and tricks for attending this year's SaaStr Annual. So I'm going to go slideshow. Okay, so hopefully you guys know by now that the SaaStr Annual is quickly upcoming. It is September 10th through 12th, so just 2 weeks away, really, from the annual. It's our 10th SaaStr Annual, which will be really fun. And yeah, as I mentioned, if you have any questions, we probably will cover it here, but you can drop into the chat or the Q&A if you're on the Zoom, or we'll also check the questions on the live stream. So yeah, thanks for joining. SaaStr Annual, just at a glance, attendance is always hard to gauge at the end because it usually picks up as it is now. So, but we'll have around 13,000 people across 3 days. It is outdoor, indoor, sort of more festival style if this is your first time coming. We do a lot of like networking sessions, investor meetings, lots of really great speakers coming this year, as well as like the new kind of like AI summit and stage within SaaStr Annual. So yeah, lots going on for the 10th SaaStr Annual this year. So the purpose of today is to really just give you guys a high level overview. We'll try not to make it the full hour because we've done these before and people like the full hour is a lot to watch back if we send it on and we add this to the website. So we'll try and do this more so at a glance. A lot of this is on SaaStrAnnual.com. If you go to the attendee portal, a lot of this is there for you guys. But yeah, we're just going to hit some tips and tricks. Again, just to know if it is your first time or if you're coming back, things always change from year to year. So just some important things. So first and foremost to know before you go, I just talked about it, but the attendee portal is here. I'm also going to drop these slides into the chat if it will let me. So I'll drop this here. That way you guys can view this. Anyone with the link? Yep, perfect. So I'll drop this into the chat if you're following along on the Zoom. But all of this information also lives in the attendee portal. So yeah, if you come here to SaaStrAnnual.com, go to the attendee portal. This has a lot of what we're going to be covering today. But I know a lot of it's kind of dense. So we'll give you also our commentary on it, which will be a little bit different. But yeah, a lot of this lives in the attendee portal. So if you haven't checked it out yet, we'll go over a lot of this now. But if you have to drop or something, definitely check out the attendee portal. It's also linked in the mobile app. Again, a lot of really great information. We're constantly updating this for things you need to know before you come. You'll also get, those weekly attendee newsletters. We'll send that one out today with the recording of this for everyone. So yeah, so again, there's a lot of really great information at your disposal. And I see a bunch of you here now. So, okay, so yeah, that's the attendee portal first and foremost. Lots of really great information there. If you're looking for answers to questions, lots of them are there. Yeah, but at a glance, right, just to give you guys our best tips and tricks. So the location is the San Mateo County Event Center. If you've never been, it is a massive 40+ acre campus. So you might see some different addresses sometimes in this webinar, or when you get in the Uber, you'll see like this Saratoga address, and then sometimes you'll see a Delaware address. Both are actually correct and true. It's just because the campus is so big that there are it takes up multiple city blocks. So it is on either of those sides. You can go to either one. You can also just put in, San Mateo County Event Center. Sometimes it's also called the San Mateo County Fairgrounds. And all of those things will take you to the right place. You'll know when you see it because you'll see like a bunch of tents and like signage that's very blue, kind of similar to this vibe. Indicating that you are getting closer to SaaStr. So keep in mind, as I've said, SaaStr Annual is an outdoor-indoor campus. It is a big campus, so dress and pack appropriately. It's the Bay Area, so weather is a bit unpredictable, as it has been this week. So it can get warm in the afternoons, but you might need like a thin jacket in the mornings. Sensible shoes are always recommended, right? Our dress code for the event is just business casual. So yeah, that's just something to keep in mind, is like there's going to be a fair amount of walking between, the outdoors, the indoors, registration, all that stuff. So yeah, it's a fair amount of walking. So just come prepared. I know too, a lot of like our sponsors and stuff are doing giveaways that play to our indoor outdoor theme. We've got like hats and stuff in our swag store. But all the things get SaaStr bucks for. So yeah, there's a lot of really great resources on property. Okay, this is one of the top questions we get lately, which is like, okay, since the campus is so big, how do we get there? How do we get around? So first and foremost, if you are local or if you're renting a car, you can request a parking pass. It is absolutely free. So again, it's in that attendee portal. You click that link, you click the parking request form. It will ask you to fill in just your details of, your name, email, et cetera, ticket number, so that you can request parking, so that you can get a parking pass. We do assign these on a first come, first serve basis, but like I said, it's free. So even if you think you need it, I would request your parking now so that we can start to distribute that out to you. And then if for some reason parking gets full, you can use our overflow parking over at the Crown Plaza, which is one of our attendee hotels. And then in terms of Uber or rideshare drop off, there is rideshare drop off dedicated in both of the lots that we have on campus. So it really doesn't matter if you're like getting into the Uber and you're not familiar with, things around town. If you just put in San Mateo County Event Center, it doesn't matter which location they take you to. Each one has a registration area and a rideshare drop off. So either way would be fine. There's also shuttles. So I know a lot of our attendee hotel blocks are now completely sold out. They've been sold out for a few weeks now. So there is a SaaStr Annual shuttle that is free to attendees that you can get on. It does run between the Crown Plaza, the newer Hampton Inn that's in town, and the SaaStr Annual campus, of course, at the event center. So it does a constant loop. It's about every 15 to 20 minutes. Again, it just constantly will loop from those hotels to the SaaStr Annual. These are the posted shuttle times. Sometimes they've been able to hold it a few minutes. Sometimes they leave early a few minutes. But like I said, it is on a constant loop. It's kind of like if you've been to Disneyland, it's like getting on the tram or waiting for it. It's kind of like that. So it's like a shuttle. It's free to use. It's fairly handy if you're trying to get back and forth and you're not in a rush. Obviously, if for some reason you're like in a rush to get to the event center, an Uber or Lyft would always be faster than the shuttle. But the shuttle's free. So there's that. Getting around town, if you're from out of town, which I know a lot of you are, it is a busy time of year in San Mateo. Like I said, a lot of the hotels are full this year. I think this is the year we've had the most local hotels be sold out at capacity, beyond capacity. So yeah, it's a busy time of year in San Mateo. As I mentioned, because a lot of things are at capacity or sold out, you might want to look into getting a rental car because it is actually still, even though there's the shuttles, right? If you want a little bit more flexibility, a lot of people will get rental cars, especially if you're coming in a team. It's just handy to get around. Where San Mateo County Event Center is kind of in the middle of it's because it's so big, right? It's 40 acres. You can see it here on the map. Like there are amenities around it, which we'll talk about, but they're not really walkable. So if you need to get somewhere else, or if you've got customer meetings, maybe in the city, or VC meetings down in Palo Alto, like your best way to get to those places is going to be renting a car and getting a free parking pass. I warn everybody this every year because we have so many people going to SaaStr Annual. You are going to see surge prices on rideshare. So it's just something to bear in mind or factor into if you're trying to get around. That's why we do recommend rental cars to folks. Again, especially if you've got like two people, even then it ends up being cheaper to just rent a car than taking an Uber back and forth from the campus to your hotel, or maybe your hotel's farther because you can get into the sold out blocks. Yeah, we do see a lot of people do this. So other amenities though that are nearby, there is a Hillsdale Mall. So if you forget something because you're from out of town, there's a lot of like amenities and restaurants there. Or if you're like, I want to have a customer meeting that's maybe not on site because you're coming in early or you're staying a few days later, Hillsdale Mall is a really great place to do it. There's also a Starbucks that's about 15 minutes away, sort of walkable, but just know it also gets really crowded during SaaStr Annual, so it can take quite a bit of time sometimes. And then where the event center is, last but not least, is about a 30-minute drive, depending on traffic, to either downtown San Francisco or Palo Alto. I would say lately traffic's been worse, so it's probably 30 minutes to the airport and then like another half hour to downtown San Francisco. But depends on time of day you're coming. it is also kind of crowded on the weekend. So yeah, it's just a busy time of year. So just factor in kind of plenty of time for getting to the annual if you want to, maximize your attendance. We'll go through the posted hours of like when the campus is open. When the campus is open, you're free to hang out, even if sessions are not going on. There's a lot of really great places on campus to hang out and do that. So speaking of which, there's a lot of really great places on campus, which we'll go through, and then we'll talk about how to pick up your badges. I'm just going to go to registration first. So yeah, there's 3 locations in which you can pick up your badge. So on campus, there's 2 registrations. Again, it's just because there's 2 sides of the multiple city blocks where you can enter. You basically have to like enter the property first, whether you're taking the shuttle, the rideshare, or whatever it is. They're going to drop you off in one of these lots. And so we have a dedicated registration and check-in at each of those lots, as well as a satellite registration over at the Crown Plaza. So again, since this is our main attendee block hotel and there's a lot of hotels around it, we do a satellite registration there. It has slightly different hours. You might, if you're coming in early, that might be a little bit easier for you to go get your badge there and like skip the line. Versus coming to the campus. So a lot of options to register and get your badges early, and then use the express lane versus coming all at once. Like you guys do, which is fine too. But yeah, it's just if you want to maybe avoid the minimal wait times we have in the lines, then satellite reg is a good way to do it, or early badge pickup is also a good way to do it. So again, anywhere you go on campus, there will be a badge pickup and entrance area. If you've never been to SaaStr Annual, a few good reminders here on registration. So in order to pick up your badge, you need a valid photo ID. So this will be either a driver's license or a passport. You do need your ticket confirmation code so that, we know that you are you and you are picking up your ticket. Obviously, you have to be ticketed to enter. A question I've gotten sometimes is like, okay, if I need to buy an extra ticket at the last minute, can I like buy it at the gate? The answer is you can, but they're honestly just going to load up the website and like have you do the same thing. So it's probably easier for you to just load up the website and do that at your hotel before you come to the annual. So yeah, it's not any quicker or smoother. It's actually the same process. So if you add anybody last minute, you could probably just do that now before the last price increase for September 1st. And then once you get your badge, you do need to wear them at all times. So every day. So not just at your first entry point. So whenever you're coming back to SaaStr Annual, you do need to still wear a badge. Try not to lose it because there's a reprint fee. The other thing I like to remind folks is that badge swapping and transferring after you check in is not allowed. So what we mean by this is like if I go to SaaStr Amelia and I'm the system and I pick up my badge, I can't come for one day and then the next day Trish takes my badge and says that she's Amelia. One, there are daily ID checks. So once she hits the ID checkpoint, they're going to see that Trish and Amelia don't match the ID and the badge. And at which point, if you're like, oh, I want to transfer my ticket from Amelia to Trish because Amelia's not coming back, we do not do that after you check in. So you can do it before you check in. So if Amelia gets sick and I can't come to SaaStr Annual and I want to transfer it to Trish for the entirety of the event, you can email events@saastrang.com or come up to the help desk once you're on site and they can help you do that. But once you check in, your badge is yours for the entirety of the event. Really important to utilize the express lanes that we have on campus once you have your badge. This means you can bypass all the stanchions and the snake line. If you've already got your badge, then you can go through express because they will just check your badge and your ID, and then you'll go through security. So just know that you'll experience that anytime you re-enter. Obviously, this is just for security purposes. We have a lot of people coming to SaaStr Annual. Our goal, first and foremost, above anything else, is to keep all of you safe. So thank you in advance for your cooperation on that, and also for not bringing any prohibited items, which we listed here, very similar to the airport security list. It's probably the same. There's probably a few one-offs there, like unapproved costumes or confetti. But yeah, don't bring any of that with you. Obviously, because we are doing security checkpoints, that any of your items that you bring with you are subject to a search. And just know if you are bringing things like outside food and beverage, like, you grab a Starbucks or a Phil's in the morning, or you go have lunch offsite and then you come back. If you're bringing it back in with you, it can only be for yourself and not like catering. If you have like a team that's coming with you, like you can't bring like a Starbucks carrier of coffee. One, we have coffee on campus, but two, it's just, we do have food exclusivities and all that stuff. So just be mindful of, what you're packing in, and then personal vehicles like scooters and bikes. Even though the campus is big, this does not pertain to folks with disabilities, but just, in life, we've had some folks in the past, because we have a big campus, bring like their bikes. We just don't allow it because we do have heavy equipment running around. So keep that in mind. These are the registration times. You'll also find them on the mobile app or on SaaStr.com. We just consolidated it here so you can see them at a glance. We do have early badge pickup starting on Monday the 9th. So again, if you're in town early, you can come get your badge either on campus or at satellite registration. And how this works, for those who are new here, is you would just pick up your badge and then go to, like, wherever your next appointment is, or back to your hotel. There's nothing to do on Monday on campus. We have our sponsors that are loading in, but for attendees, it would just be a badge pickup, and then you'd be able to like scope out the scene, get your badge. There's no lines on Mondays. I can tell you guys, like, it's a really chill vibe if you want to come get your badge. There, you can also Tuesday morning go to satellite reg if you're like, I'm ready to get my day started, or if I need to go get my badge because I have some meetings I'm going to go to before I come back to SaaStr. You can utilize the Crown Plaza pickup point. And then at 2:30, the registration and campus will open for everyone. And at that point, you can either use the express lane, or if you've already gotten your badge, or just come on in and register then, and then come into the show. Similarly for Wednesday and Thursday, we open reg at 8 a.m. and then go till 7 on Wednesday. So it's quite late. And then Thursday we open at 8 and then go to 3 p.m. Okay. One thing we like to just preface for everyone this year, you will see this is very much like airport security. We do security checks every year at SaaStr Annual. We are utilizing these open gate security systems this year. Again, you've probably seen these at airports or, kind of any checkpoints. These are stadium checkpoints. These are fairly standard. It's kind of the stadium system where, you walk through, you only have to like take out your laptop or your glasses case. And then you pass your items on the desk to security, and then you just walk through, right? Most people are going to go through just fine. So again, just take a look at that prohibited list and just know, like, probably all of you are going to have like a laptop or an iPad. So anything bigger than that, much like the airport, you're just going to have to take it out real quick, and then put it back in your bag once you're through. Just know that obviously it's more to check for prohibited items. Most of you will just pass through just fine. You won't beep. Again, it's super fast. So just know this will be every day. It's not just the first day upon entry. It's every time when you come back to the annual. But like I said, again, I know there's a lot of you coming on campus, but it really just takes, a few seconds to walk through. So just know that. For folks that have been asking us if there is a coat check or a bag check, there is. I'll call this out on the campus map, and then we'll go to the campus map in a second. But it is outside, not outside the grounds, but like it's outside the main hangars where a lot of you are going to be the entirety of the time. So it is at registration. So just keep in mind that coat check is at registration. It is open these times. So, these posted times is when you can check a bag, whatever, a coat, extra layer, a backpack, whatever it may be. But again, it is at registration for ease of security. It's for that purpose of, right, because we are doing security this year, the code check is literally right next to registration. So if you're coming on the last day, which is where a lot of you use this or run into the scenario, like if you're coming the last day and you need to drop your like roller bag or your suitcase at code check because you're going to go straight to the airport from SaaStr Annual, you can 100% do that. It's just like whatever registration you're at will have its own dedicated code check. So you need to go back to that one in order to get your stuff back. We're not going to move it if you exit a different way. We don't know that information. So just make sure, you go back through the same way you came if you have something at code check. And it is, again, outside by registration. So if at some point you're like, oh, I need something in my bag, you are going to have to go back through security, right? Because you're technically exiting to get to code check. So just keep that in mind. Again, for most of you, it's not going to be a big deal because you're just going to check your bag. You're going to leave it there. And then when you're ready to go, you just come and pick up your bag. And then you're good to go. So again, just keep that in mind, right? If you're like, oh, I may forget something, you'll have to go pop in and pop back out. Also, don't leave things overnight. If you're like, I'm going to leave my bag here on the 10th all the way through the 12th. We do not leave things because they're out by registration. We don't leave things out there overnight. So we'll end up going to our like lost and found pretty much. So please don't leave things there, especially don't leave, like valuables and stuff Obviously, we know a lot of you bring like your rolly bags on the 12th, and that's all fine, right? We've got like security and stuff those days, but again, just be sensible on using coat check with the number of people that we have around. Okay. Handy thing to do also is to download the SaaStr Events app. So if you don't have this yet, you can download SaaStr Events on your mobile device. It's got a lot of this really great information that I am spieling to you. So it's got the attendee portal, as well as a lot of other stuff like signing up for sessions, signing up for brain dates, getting your ticket code. That's all in the app. So really handy if you download that app before you come to the show. Okay, so if you've never been to SaaStr Annual, there's a few things we want to go through of what is on campus this year. So I'm actually going to click this one. So yeah, if you haven't seen our attendee portal, if you scroll down, there's kind of some quick links here. You can get to anything you need. You can also get to like the fuller size thing, like if you click it, it makes it a lot bigger, as you can see. So like mine was really small on the side. And if you're like, I can't, read that because it's too small, you can click that one, make it bigger, save it. Just know sometimes things change, right? So sometimes we change names of things, like we've already changed the name of one of these stages, but like, things are generally in the same spot they're going to be. If you have any questions on site, you can just look for the people in the SaaStr staff shirts. They'll be able to help you out if you get lost, or you can ask the help desk at registration, or just flag any one of us. There's a lot of staff around on site. So yeah, the campus is a really big property. So like I said, this is not to scale, does not do it justice, but basically after you enter registration from any checkpoint, a lot of things are going to be in these two, what we call hangars. So there's hangar west and hangar east. They are connected to each other. They're like more than like a football fields each. So again, they're pretty big. The stages are in here. So if you're looking for there's two sessions that are almost back to back, and I don't know how much time I have to get from point A to point B. It would take you no more than 5 minutes to go from point A to point B of any of the stages. Same thing with like brain dates. If you're going to get from brain dates to like another stage, or the sponsor hall to a different stage. Again, things are fairly close in those two hangars. We try to keep it centralized. And then there is a lot of things on the outside property. So we've got things like, the not so secret speakeasy, the casino, the Founders Lounge, SaaStr Square Park, which has like a dog lounge, the VC lounge, the Executive Briefing Center, kind of the whole outdoors. So like if you're looking to meet somebody at SaaStr Annual and you're like, okay, we both know we're attending, we don't know where is a good place to meet up. You can meet up in the cantina, the SaaStr Cantina, which is over here. Cloud 5 is a good place to meet people. The Midway is a really great place to take a meeting. A lot of people do take meetings out there because then you're outside, you're enjoying the air. A lot of people will take meetings in SaaStr Square Park. This is basically all outdoor meeting space that we've created for people. Just know that there will also be some doggies there from time to time at SaaStr Square Park. And yeah, those are great places to meet. Back here in Camp Hexie's Cool Zone. So if you guys don't know, Hexie is like our mascot. He's a hexagon. That's the SaaStr logo. He's on my shirt, so that's Hexie. You'll see him around. Yeah, we put like a cool hangout area back there if you're like, I wanna, I don't know, play a game and also have a meeting. You can do that back there too. There's a lot of really great places to chill on campus, if you will. So we know it's 40 acres. We know things are a little bit further to get to in San Mateo. So we do have basically a full property campus built out, so that you don't have to leave if you don't want to. A lot of people come early, they stay the whole day, and then they leave. It's like, you don't have to leave if you don't want. I will say I have seen people take naps outside. So it's like we've seen it all. I've seen people take naps on the grass. I've seen a lot of people take Zooms, either in the co-working space, which is Cloud 6, or again, kind of anywhere on campus. That's a common occurrence these days. I've seen a lot of people do like little team huddles outside. So yeah, we've kind of, again, it's all built out. There's like coffee, drinks, food everywhere. So it's pretty handy for staying all day. Okay, on to the next slide, which I think is going to be the sponsor hall. So yeah, if you have not seen this yet, again, you can go to the attendee portal and get a much bigger version, but this is the sponsor directory, if you will, so you can see who's exhibiting this year, and what booth numbers they're at if you know that there's somebody that you want to meet with for this year. So a lot of our sponsors have been doing their own weekly sponsor webinar. Some of them are on this one, or going to be watching this one back. So major thanks to all of our sponsors. It's going to be a really great event this year to celebrate 10 years of Annual. Okay, a few other quick things, because again, we want to try and keep this rolling through. The event agenda here, like I said, Monday. If you're not coming Monday, because you have a Tuesday flight, totally fine. It's only early badge pickup. So if you are in town, again, good idea to just come stop by and get your badge for a few minutes. Tuesday, right, we have satellite registration open in the morning, and then the campus opens at 2:30. And on this day, we've got, parade dates are open. There's a few sessions that are going to be open on Tuesday, and it is Taco Tuesday. I mean, technically, every Tuesday is Taco Tuesday. So we decided to blow it out. It will be Taco Tuesday on campus. We'll have drinks, we'll have tacos, we'll have birria, we'll have like bacon wrapped hot dogs. So yeah, it will literally be Taco Tuesday on campus if you're like, oh, we were thinking of going out for tacos. Like we brought the tacos to you. So Taco Tuesday on Tuesday the 10th. We'll have our opening reception, like I said, with tacos, live music, some networking, some content. It's always a good way that we like to kick off SaaStr Annual, right? Come get your badge, come meet some friends. There's not too much content going on, so it's a really great time to like talk to sponsors, talk to other attendees, like do a lot of the brain dates. Like there's a lot of brain dates going on in that block. So yeah, Tuesday is a really good time to do that before you get inundated with maybe like too much content that you're trying to jam into your schedule. So Wednesday and Thursday are full content days. We open bright and early at 8. Brain dates start at like 9. Content starts at 9:30. There's lunch. This day has a CFO summit, a happy hour, poker night, and then the big party with Tita Lau. So I'll get into each one of those if you're like, I haven't heard these words that you've just said very rapidly. So if you are a CFO or VP of Finance attending SaaStr Annual, click this link. I'll also give you a handy tip right now, which is if you go to SaaStrAnnual.com, if you go to this networking, you'll see if you hover over it, there's a bunch of stuff here. So a lot of those are all in my deck. We'll go through them, but it's a handy guide if you haven't seen this yet. This will link you out to brain dates, poker night, the CCO meetup, the CMO brunch, the CFO summit, the Meet a VC, and all the side parties that people are doing. So it's all in this nav. Super handy if you haven't done this yet. Do this right after this webinar. Good to check all those out and see which ones you might want to go to or qualify for. Recommend, you sign up for all of them if you do qualify for them. They are kind of events within our event. So meaning for things like the CFO summit, this is going to be for CFOs and VPs of finance only. Or if you're like, I've been trying to convince my CFO to come and he hasn't had a reason why, or they haven't had a reason why, this is a good reason to come. So it's Wednesday, the 11th from 12 to 3. Be sure you sign up for that because it is gated and badge checked based on who is accepted. Same thing with poker night. So if you're a CEO coming or CRO, we'll say poker night's getting pretty full, so maybe apply sooner rather than later. All of these are starting to get a little bit full. Apply to CRO and CEO poker night on Wednesday the 11th. This is starting at 4. It goes all the way till 8, so you can hear the music from the big party if you're going to poker night, and you can bop back and forth. But yeah, this will be a fun time. I will preface there's no actual buy-in, which is like the number one question we've gotten about poker night. It's all like house money, it's all for funsies, but it's still a lot of fun. We had this vendor come do poker last year, and yeah, everyone kind of had a blast. It was full, so like there were people like waiting to get into table games. So it's always fun, it's always full. So yeah, kind of poker night. It'll be a jam if you are one of those 2 buckets. Apply for that. And then, yeah, like I said, the big party. So we do the big party for those who don't know every year. This is like our big on-site party. We've brought like a different kind of like EDM electronic artist the last few years. So this year we're going to have Tita Lau, which we're very excited about. We saw her at Coachella, which is really good. So, she will be here performing at the big party. She's actually currently like on tour in Europe, so she's coming just for this. So this will be super fun. She's got, some big collaborations with like James Hype and stuff. Or if you guys don't know her, you can click some of these links or just even YouTube her again and check out her sets. She's a really fun time. We love her vibe. And for full conference pass holders, we do have a few. I just checked this morning. We have a few bring a buddy passes left for your full ticket holders. The link is in that slide deck that I just linked to you guys. If you're following along on the Zoom, you can click that link. It just how these work is like if you are the full ticket holder, and like if I was a full ticket holder and I wanted to bring Trish, but she wasn't ticketed for all of annual, but she was just coming to the party, you sign them up for a buddy pass, and then basically you go meet your buddy when they come to SaaStr Annual. Like you go meet them at the gate, you get them in, and then they can come into the big party. So it's quite easy. Actually, people have gotten used to this because we've done this a few years now. But it's always fun to like, come to the party, experience the vibe. You can come anytime after 5. So you've got like an hour to like talk to sponsors and then enjoy the party night. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's always usually my favorite part of the annual. Okay, so coming into Thursday, and then I'll go back to that slide. Coming into Thursday, registration opens at 8 a.m. for everyone to typically by this point you're going through the express line. Again, content's on, networking's on, brunch is on. There's CMO brunch, which we'll talk about, Meet a VC brunch, lunches, CCO summit, and then the last day we always do a happy hour and closing reception. So CMO brunch, we just announced the lineup. We got inundated. I'm going to say inundated, and I'm not lying, with like applications for people who want to come to CMO brunch. So if we don't accept you, it's not because we don't love you. It's because we're probably getting really full. So if you haven't applied yet, make sure you apply for CMO brunch. If you have a CMO attending, it is for CMOs only. So I've seen a few like VP of marketings apply, like marketing managers. We are keeping this one pretty strict. It is pretty tight door for the CMO brunch. And again, it's almost full already, even though we just announced it. But it's because we have such a killer lineup. So if you do have a CMO who is attending, be sure to sign them up for the brunch sooner rather than later. For any of these kind of like closed door side events, we'll try and accommodate walk-ups, right? If some people bail and they're on the list. And so we can try and, get people in, but it's not guaranteed. So the best way to do that is to apply for any of these. I will say for any of these, like CMO, CFO, CCO brunch, once you apply, you will know you get in because you will get a calendar invite literally from me myself. It will give you all the instructions of how to check in for that brunch that day. So that's how you'll know you've been accepted. Again, we've been inundated with all these applications across the branch, but especially for CMO. So just give it a few days if you're like, I feel like I qualify. Again, give it a few days. We're also, we've already started our loading and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, just give it a few days and then I'm sure we will, you'll get that confirmation from me. If you don't get it, then it means that we may not have room for you. But again, we will try our best. So we will try and accommodate some mock-ups there. But highly recommend that if you're coming and you're a CMO, or if you qualify for any of these things, right, or somebody on your team does, that you have them apply now. So the other thing we're doing, two more things we're doing on Thursday is there is the Meet a VC, VC and Founders brunch. So this will be in the Founders Lounge that Rome is sponsoring. We'll do this for CEOs, investors only, get them all together. People have been asking us this for years. And so I convinced Rome to let us use their lounge space to do this on Thursday. So we'll have a Founders and VC lunch. So it is in the agenda. This one you can sign up for. Just keep in mind, we are going to check badges again for a lot of these side events. So Jess, again, be mindful of that. But yeah, do add that to your agenda. Usually we have a lot of investors. I know it's on SaaStr.com. There's a lot of like hundreds of investors already coming. A lot of them are in brain dates. But this is a really good way to meet them too if you want to have like some really good conversations. The CCO Summit, as I mentioned a few times, is on Thursday. I think this one is full. So if you haven't already signed up, again, one of those things where we'll try and accommodate last minutes on site if you are a CCO, right? But yeah, some of these this has been live for a while, so I think this one's starting to reach capacity or is at capacity. And yeah, it's our first time actually this year doing this many events within the event, so it's kind of an experiment. We did like one last year. We did our first CMO one last year. So this year we have 5. So it's our first time doing this many. Hopefully it helps, those who qualify. And yeah, the idea of them being a little bit more like restricted in capacities is to keep them more closed doors, right? These sessions aren't recorded. They're really banging speakers, honestly, because they know they're not being recorded and they can be more like, open and free flowing. The other thing I'll say is like a lot of these people are doing open sessions. So like the CMO Summit is like Denise from Snowflake and Carrie Lou and like John Dar and all of them are doing a like open AMA for folks in the in just SaaStr Annual on Thursday before they do CMO branch. And then for CCO Summit, they're actually closing out like some of the day with some of these members from CCO Summit on one of the core stages. So I will say that too, if you still want to learn from these folks, look for those two things in the agenda because they are doing more broader sessions as well that are open for everyone. So speaking of the agenda, if you haven't done so yet, we highly recommend starting to register for sessions just so you can build out your schedule and know where you're going each day. We are still adding content, as weird as that sounds. Like again, like we just got, we just announced CMO brunch. We're announcing some other main stages still. So yeah, there's been things that have been like, puzzle piecing in and out. So yeah, good idea to keep an eye on that and book your sessions just so you know where you're going from point A to point B. If you're following along on the Zoom, we linked some of the most popular ones here off the side. So if you click any one of these, I want to go to the build.com session on Thursday. If you're following on the Zoom, this will actually take you to the session itself so that you can save a seat for it. So to save your seat, I know it's a little bit confusing, but instead of hitting that star, you're going to hit that save seat button. I'm already logged in. If you're not logged in, it is going to ask you to log in here with just your ticket. I'm already logged in, so I'm going to say save my seat, and it's as easy as that. When you do save it, it will automatically start it for you. But yeah, saving your seat is how you add it to like there. You can also add it to your calendar, right? So if I wanted to add it to any of these, like my Gcal, I already have it on my calendar, but you can add this to your calendar as well, just to help build out your schedule. It's also kind of nice, right? If it's on your calendar and then like, okay, I kind of want to go to this one or another one. I know a question we get a lot of is like, okay, if there's 2 sessions I want to go see at one time, what do I do about that? We are going to be live streaming, so you can go to the SaaStr YouTube channel after the fact and watch whatever sessions you might have missed that you want to watch, or if you like really enjoyed the session and the slides and you want to share it with your team, and you can use the live stream for that as well. Okay, so just a few other things because I want to talk about networking. Last but certainly not least is how to network. Again, I know it's one of the top questions we get now as you guys are gearing up to come to SaaStr Annual. It's like, what is our best way to network? How can we do that? And that is via the Braindates Networking and the Braindates Networking Lounge this year that's sponsored by Fullcast. That's on campus. So I'll just quickly explain a brief explainer of what a Braindate is and then what a Braindate isn't, because that will help you guys in the guidelines of how to maximize your networking. So Braindates are all around peer learning. They're one-on-one and group sessions. Again, it's all based on peer learning. So the goal is to help each other and fellow attendees learn something new, find mentorships, create partnerships, exchange strategies, things like that. What it isn't is like, this is not a Wild West networking platform, as I like to call it. So, there's not a tab of, I'm just going to log into Braindates and suddenly I can see everyone attending. We don't do that. All Braindates are moderated. So once you do submit a Braindate, it does go into a moderation queue. And that is because there are so many of you coming that, yes, unfortunately, sometimes there are folks who just try and pitch themselves in a Braindate. And so to help, stave those off, we do moderate the topics that come in. Again, it is all about having an interesting topic and ideas to share, right? It's not meant to be a bait and switch. We do get feedback from time to time if folks are like, yeah, even though their topic said one thing, it became a product commercial and I really didn't like this Braindate. We get that feedback and we do take action on that. So just keep that in mind. It's not meant to be a product pitch or a commercial or a straight up like talk that only has to do with exactly what your product does. Again, it's like, for myself, I wouldn't talk about SaaStr necessarily. Like if I had email tips and tricks from sending all the emails for annual, then that would be my topic, right? But it's not anything to do about SaaStr itself. I could use SaaStr examples, but if I wanted to talk email best practices, that'd be a topic that'd be approved versus like, I don't know what we do at SaaStr, come learn from me. Like that would not be approved. So those topics don't make the cut. The first time you log into Braindates, or maybe you have already, you will see this code of conduct, which explains all of these guidelines of, again, things we accept versus things that we more so don't accept. In here, again, we typically don't approve things that have to do with your product or service. I know there are a few of you right now that keep submitting multiple times the same thing and we keep rejecting it at the same time. If you do get a note from our moderation team that your Braindate was unaccepted, we typically write a reason why, right? Of like why it wasn't accepted and some hints of how to improve it so that it would be accepted. So yeah, I know that it's a little bit of a process, but thanks for bearing with us. There are a lot of Braindates that are already live. So I will say a lot of you have submitted, a lot of you already have your topics live. I know some of you are waiting in the queue just to hear back. That does take, a little bit of time for us to read all the applications, but hopefully it will help improve your networking experience this year so that you have, real connections, real networking versus, we had a lot of feedback last year that too many people got straight up pitched. So hopefully you won't get straight up pitched this year. So, it's a double-edged sword for networking. But again, I think everyone off the bat will have a better overall networking experience this year with the way that we have implemented the brain dates for 2024. So when you do have a brain date booked, or if you want to try and book one last minute, the best place to go once you're on site will be that brain date lounge in the East Hangar. So that's the best place to go. We have a dedicated team there that will help you with brain dates and networking, help answer any questions. I'll give you also like a quick rundown of why sometimes I've seen, throughout the years, because we've done brain dates a lot now, of why some of these only sometimes last, sometimes the really good brain dates will last 30 minutes. Sometimes I see them getting like moved, like they're like, yeah, we left that group there in the lounge and they've been there like all day. Or sometimes like I walk by and I'm like, oh, didn't that brain date just start? And they're like, yeah, it's already over because I don't like the host wasn't prepared, or, again, it was a product pitch. And so people were unhappy. And so they walk out. So again, just because people sign up for your brain date, they are not hostage to your time and your messaging. If they don't like it, they will probably walk out. So it is a sad reality, right? If you do try and again, bait and switch people. Chris is doing more of a thought leadership perspective. So brain dates can either be, at an extreme 20 minutes or 20 seconds. So a lot of the really great brain dates will have either slides or talking points, just to help, ground the conversation, help it get going. They're sent around tactics, lessons learned, or failures, or data. Those are often some of our most popular brain dates. A lot of those who, or if you're thinking about hosting a brain date, we do ask that you put in the prep work, right? Not just roll up to your brain date and say, okay, I'm gonna do mine on email best marketing practices. And I get there and I'm like, okay, what are my email marketing best doing it on the fly is a little less great than, even just having some talking points. If I write down, 5 points of, okay, let's talk about A/B testing, subject lines, audience segmentation, warm versus re-engagement, that kind of thing, right? So time of day, and story, messaging, like all that stuff would be more concrete than just showing up to your brain date. And that's why some of them do, again, at an extreme, like 20 seconds, right? Like sometimes they can only end after a few minutes if the host themselves is not prepared to have that conversation or discussion. So yeah, we try and avoid that, right? And that's why we do the moderation. The other thing I should have said earlier before minute 42, but this is just all of Annual is not LinkedIn, right? So this is a real life event. People are going to be in front of you. It is a real event. There's going to be a lot of people, probably more crowds than you're used to in a while if you've been working remotely. So just keep in mind it is face to face, right? Be curious, show up to your bookings if you book a brain date, if you commit to them, if you show a bunch of brain dates, that is flagged, right? So that you don't just bail on folks that you said you were going to meet with, or again, they'll flag it if we get some feedback from too many attendees that you're just doing a straight up product pitch. That all gets incorporated to our feedback. For the most of you, submit your brain date on a subject matter or a topic that you're subject matter on. For most of you, will get accepted. You'll have a really great networking experience. But again, it's just so that we can help kind of curate and make sure, we're trying to maximize the amount of brain dates the last 20 minutes versus 20 seconds. So hence all that. But yeah, like I said, if you want to get into brain dates, then yeah, you go to SaaStrAnnual.braindate.com. You do have to be a full ticket holder. If you just bought your ticket, I always say give it like an hour before you log into brain dates. You'll see some of these are already in the topic marketplace, so you can start signing up for brain dates. There's a lot of different topics. I always like to, use like the search if you're looking for something like, well, I mean, there's a lot of AI topics. If you search for AI, a bunch of them come up. So yeah, you'll see things like that. But yeah, that's how you join a brain date. And then you can also post your own brain date if you're like, okay, I understand, Amelia, I want to host my own brain date and exchange ideas. Then yeah, anybody is more than welcome to submit their topic to brain dates. Okay, meet a VC. This is also super important. So for any founders or CEOs that are looking to funding or meetings with VCs this year. We do this evergreen program called Meet a VC. So there's 2 ways to participate if either you're a founder or you're an investor. We do the first wave of applications out to investors next week. So if you're not a founder, or if you're a founder and you have not applied yet, please do so now because you'll be part of that first wave. We do a last wave pretty much like the day before the event starts. But obviously these investors need a little bit of time to go through the criteria that we ask, do a little research, see if they want to meet with you. So yeah, get those applications in today so that you can be in the first wave that goes out next week. And how this works is like, if I'm Amelia, I'm a founder, and I'm looking to raise a round of funding. You apply via this link. It's just going to ask you a few questions. Basically, this is like investment, like overall general investment criteria for a lot of investors. So you'll tell us about your startup, location, MRR, ARR, things like that. Clients that you're, proud to have. Tell us about your startup. Like, yes, this is a little bit of work, but you might get. We have known people every year who get investments out of this. So while it's not guaranteed, a lot of people who do put in the work have at least a few meetings with investors, and some of them have gotten funded at SaaStr Annual. So I know this form's a little long, but trust me, it could be worth it. So if that's worth it, fill all this out, say that you're attending SaaStr Annual, and then hit apply. We share this with the investors. So they'll reach out to you directly if they want to set up a meeting. We don't, sometimes they ask us to help facilitate and then we do it. But for the most part, the investors are self-sufficient. So they'll get the list and then they'll start just reaching out to folks. So be sure you do that if you are trying to raise another round of funding. With that, Trisha, I know you've been helping answer questions as we go. Any standout ones that you want to cover at the end here?
A lot of questions about food and beverage and if people need to bring
Oh,
cash
I
to
did
cover.
kind of skip that a little.
Gonna get fed. We promise. So much food, so many beverages.
Yeah, that's a good question. So yeah, it's I don't know, it's one of those things where yeah, it ends up being a top question. So yeah, because we are on a big, massive 40-acre campus, there is food and beverage pretty much all day with how we have food and beverage rolling. So there's coffee and breakfast in the morning. There's coffee actually all day. So there's like cold brew coffee, there's tea, there's hot coffees, there's specialty coffees. Mercury is our coffee sponsor this year. There's coffee everywhere. Like we actually like doubled the amount of coffee from last year because this audience, including me personally, drinks a lot of coffee. So there's a lot of coffee on campus. If you're like a tea person, there's tea too. There's like soft drinks, all that kind of stuff. So that's all included with your pass. I'll say that too. Like there's nothing to pay for once you are on site. There's lunch every day, so lunch is in the agenda, right? 11:30 to 1:30 for Wednesday and Thursday. Obviously, we talked about how at the opening reception it's Taco Tuesdays, so there's tacos, there's beer. During happy hours, there's things like appetizers, drinks, all that kind of stuff. And by drinks, I mean if it's happy hour, there'll be alcoholic beverages as well as non-alcoholic, and there's like a variety of alcoholic or non-alcoholic. If you're like, I want a seltzer, I don't want a glass of wine, there's both. Some places like the Speakeasy that IBM is sponsoring has like specialty cocktails, or like the Airstream that Workiva has like slushies. So if you're like warm, that's where to go get a slushie. So yeah, there's plenty of food and beverage around all day. It's a good one. Any others?
No, they're all pretty easy. Answered
Yeah.
everybody in the thread. But again, if anybody ever has questions, you can just send us a note, events@saastering.com. We're super responsive.
Yeah.
Happy to have you guys there.
Great reminder. Yeah. So with that, if you guys think of any questions, a lot of this is in the attendee portal. So you guys have the link to that now. Sign up for all those networking things. Email events@saastering.com if you have a question, or, at some point next week, we'll flip that to, we're now on site. Please come to the help desk. So on site will be at the help desk. Our team will be there to help you out. With that, hope you're getting excited. It's not that many sleeps to go till SaaStr Annual. It'll be really fun. It's, again, massive campus if this is your first time, indoor, outdoor, a lot of really great content, maybe even too much. Sometimes lots of networking, parties, side parties, official, unofficial parties. So yeah, it's a lot going on. A lot of people getting together for this one. So it'll be great. We hope you guys are excited and we will see you there. And thanks for watching.